How many of you know someone who has smoked at some point in their life? Well, I know a few. Hi, I'm Caden Judds, and I've had multiple family members that have been affected or have died from smoking. So this is kind of a personal topic with me that I know a lot about, alright? So I'm going to be talking about the issues with smoking in public, mainly the increased risk of heart attacks and respiratory issues, and also the amount of smokers that can come from the secondhand smoke. It just increases the likelihood that you're going to be a smoker. And then I'll also be talking about the positives of a ban on public smoking, like lower hospital admission rates and better air quality, just in general stuff. Alright, so the first problem with public smoking is children and just people in general are being exposed to secondhand smoke, which is secondhand smoke. That's basically when there's a smoker in public and they're just blowing the smoke out of their mouth and then it finds its way into your mouth. So it's like you're kind of smoking without meaning to, and that has some health effects. Like one of the big ones is increased risk of heart attacks, alright? So according to the article, banning smoking in public places and workplaces is good for the heart by Amanda Dabrowski. Secondhand smoke is thought to increase the likelihood of a heart attack by making the blood sticky and more prone to clotting. So a heart attack is caused by blood and just liquids in general being stuck in your heart valves, and that triggers a heart attack. So if the blood is more sticky, that makes it easier to have a heart attack, which is not something you want, so I've heard. Then another big issue with smoking in public is respiratory issues. So in general, if there's a lot of public smoking in the area, everyone around, even if you aren't an active smoker, is gonna have some health issues. Like, it's more likely to have asthma, bronchitis, hay fever, eczema. It's just a lot of stuff that can be caused by secondhand smoke. And then third, there's an increased risk of taking up smoking just because you're inhaling all the secondhand smoke. It kind of lays like a groundwork for a nicotine addiction, which is not something you want. So, according to the 2009 article, Secondhand Smoke Exposure in Cars and Respiratory Health Effects in Children by Zubair Kabir, evidence suggests that children exposed to secondhand smoke in places other than homes are more likely to be susceptible to starting smoking than those who are not exposed. Alright, well, there is a solution to all these problems. Don't you worry. And that is a ban on smoking in public, right? So that has a lot of good effects, like hospital admission rates are lower, the air quality is better, and it reduces the amount of underage smokers. So, the first one, laws banning smoking in public lower hospital admissions. So, some states and just local governments have began to ban or limit public smoking, and one of these happened in New York. According to the 2007 article, declines in hospital admissions rate for acute myocardial infarction in New York State after implementation of a comprehensive smoking ban. The comprehensive state law that banned smoking was associated with a 19% decline in admissions at the hospital. Alright, so that's a lot of admissions and people that could be saved medical bills or permanent health effects just by a ban on smoking. And also, it creates just better air quality in general, right? So, according to the 2007 article, Effects of the Irish Smoking Ban on Respiratory Health of Bar Workers, a total workplace smoking ban results in a significant reduction in air quality in pubs and an improvement in respiratory health environment. So, smoking, it just releases all these dangerous chemicals into the air that a ban on public smoking, that would just take a huge chunk out of the number of dangerous chemicals and particles that are in the air. And that makes it less likely to have respiratory issues, like mentioned before, such as asthma, bronchitis, stuff like that. And then one final positive effect that a ban on smoking would have is it would reduce the amount of underage smokers. All right, so I mentioned before that those that are in areas that have a lot of public smoking, they're more susceptible to taking up smoking themselves later in life, specifically kids. Well, there have actually been some examples of a ban on smoking in public, decreasing the amount of smokers just among youth. So underage smoking can go down a lot from a ban like this. Like according to the 2021 NBC News article, "This is Victory." Anti-smoking advocates applaud FDA's move to ban menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars. With these actions, the FDA will help significantly reduce youth initiation. So the FDA is basically saying in this that a ban on like some types of smoking in public, like menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars specifically that were mentioned, it will take a lot of will make it a lot less likely that a bunch of youth are going to start smoking, which is just a net positive for everyone involved. All right, so in conclusion, smoking in public has a lot of negative effects, like most notably an increased risk of heart attacks, an increased risk of respiratory issues, and it also increases the amount of smokers in the world. Banning smoking in public would have a lot of benefits as opposed to, problems. Like it would lower the number of hospitalized people and it would just create better air quality in the world. It would also decrease the amount of underage smokers. So I feel that it's worth it to ban all that so that instead of letting people just get their hit whenever they want, it can have a positive effect on a lot of lives to ban smoking in public. Well, I'm Caden Jutz, and smoking in public should be banned.